This is Roger Hoover. Now, please be joined by the head coach of the Crimson Tide baseball team, Rob Vaughn, as we get set for the most exciting time of the year coaching college baseball. Regional time is here, and the Crimson Tide are in. Roll Tide.
No doubt. Roll Tide, man. It's been a long 8 to 10 months to get here, and obviously, you look back last year and they had such a special year here. JJ led this group to some awesome things and man, did some really cool stuff. And the good news is you were riding some momentum. The bad news is about 95% of those guys were gone, be it the draft, be it graduation. So just credit those three guys, JJ, Pap, and Mo for putting together a team that's able to have a ton of new faces, but still collectively come back, get themselves back in the postseason. And I think everything's a blessing in disguise. We none of us like losing early in Hoover. I can tell you that right now. That one stung. That was a man. I don't ever want to be in that spot again. Waiting from Tuesday to Monday to figure out your fate's a heck of a long time. So I'm not happy about that. But on the same end, it gave some of our guys a little bit of a breather, which I don't think can be the worst thing in the world. So it's all about how you play baseball down the stretch, and these guys want to keep playing together. We keep winning, we keep winning weekends, and I'm excited to get back on the field with them on Friday. It feels like it's been a while. We're ready to go.
As we talked before, this is your first year coaching in the SEC, and coach 11 teams from the SEC make it to the postseason, most we've ever seen. Does that just show how tough and battle tested this Crimson Tide team is, facing and winning series against so many of those teams?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything quite like it, and man, this selection process is just so difficult, across the board. I don't envy the committee and how they have to navigate this stuff. I've been on the other side of it, several times, and you look at College of Charleston and Coach, Chad Holbrook's a friend of mine, and to see that group got left out was hard. That's not fun. I feel like that's a postseason caliber team, and I don't think there's any question. And they didn't get left out. And I think a lot of people point to the SEC, and they can point to, man, they've got 5 teams in that are 4 games below 500 in their league, and they're getting in, and we do this and that. And then you heard Gary Gilmore from Coastal say it perfectly yesterday. He was super, and you don't hear that from a lot of mid-major coaches, but he's on his way out. He's retiring, so he can probably just speak his mind a little bit. And man, just talking about the gauntlet of what the SEC is, and I think that's what I experienced this year. Is I've got friends around the country that play SEC teams, be it on a Tuesday or be it on a preseason type thing, and the what makes this league good is not just good teams, it's the day in and day out, the 10-week grind of you're playing the best of the best every game. And if you're not the best version of yourself, it doesn't matter if you're playing Auburn and Missouri, who didn't make the tournament, or if you're playing Tennessee, who won the league's the number 1 overall seed. If you don't get your best punch, you lose every time. There's no wiggle room. There's none of that. And I think that's what makes this league awesome. It's what makes it fun. As a competitor, that's what you should want. I think I would shy away from any kid or any coach that was afraid of that, But I think what that allows you to do is step into postseason play, and you're battle tested. That's for darn sure. And I think the one thing with all the attention brought to the AC or to the SEC in this is, I mean, there's great baseball everywhere. We're playing 3 really good teams this weekend that aren't from our league. Florida State is a national seed. What Link's done in year 2 there is unbelievable. Rich Wallace, first year at UCF, what he's done there, turning that thing around. Those guys can really pitch, man, and it's different. Like, it's heavy changeups, it's a mix, it's pitchability over stuff. But man, getting in the postseason his first year there, we played UCF last year when I was at Maryland. That wasn't close to being a postseason team last year, and you see what he's done is pretty remarkable. And then obviously you have a good team in Stetson that has made some noise this year and done some really good things. So that I think that the strength of the SEC cannot be taken as a knock against the rest of college baseball. I think that's one thing that's really important to point out. But at the same time, man, it's the best of the best. It's environment, it's pressure, it's crowds, it's elite stuff night in and night out. And I think what that does, if you can come out the other end of it, man, it sets you up to be successful when you roll into the NCAA tournament.
And now for the Crimson Tide, rolling into Tallahassee, Florida for the regional. You mentioned the teams Alabama will face, starting with UCF, but then Florida State, Stetson also in the bracket as well. If you could just give us a brief snapshot of those teams and what you've learned about them over the course of the last few days.
Yeah, no, Florida State obviously pretty well. They came here and played. We're going to play them a lot, man. They came here and played this fall we'll obviously hopefully play them this weekend. That means we're both on the winner side of it. And then we'll return to Tallahassee next fall to play them down there. So we're gonna get real familiar with Seminoles, but elite offense. I mean, elite offense. They've got some big time hitters in there. Talk to some friends that have played them this year in their league, and it's like, man, it's the best fastball hitting team in the country. Like they dominate the heater, and if you're going to line up and just try to throw fastballs away and sliders, they're going to pound you. So you got to move the ball around. You got to be able to get the ball in. You got to be able to do some of those things. But just a really elite lineup. Have probably in my mind one of the best pitchers in college baseball, and Jamie Arnold as their number one. And I don't know if anything's been announced when he's throwing, if he's going to go against Stetson or if he's not. But man, it's left-handed, it's upper 90s, it's really good stuff. He threw against us this fall, and it was good. I remember him leaving saying like that's the best arm on their staff. But at the time, it wasn't 94, 97. It was more like 91, 92, 91, 93. So his stuff's ticked up and he's throwing the ball really well. UCF, kind of same thing. I think pitching over offense. Now they still have some hitters that can hit a little bit. They've got a guy hitting 385 there in the middle. Not a ton of homers. I think they've hit about 55 homers as a team. They just play baseball. And that's what Rich Wallace is known for. He is just a baseball coach, man. They pitch, and again, it's pitch ability over power. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of dudes running out that are 97 to 100 with their guys, but what they're all going to do is they're all going to command the strike zone. They're all going to mix pitches. They can all pitch off their changeup. They move their fastball around. They throw lots of strikes. They play elite defense. So you look at their team, and it's a direct reflection of their head coach. And he came from Florida State. Just a really good baseball guy. And then you go to Stetson, and truth be told, like we haven't got to a lot of this, or at least I haven't got to a lot of Stetson stuff yet. Really, most of my attention's been on UCF as we're trying to just dive in and go to work there. Steve Trimper's been around a long time, man. He was up at Maine for a while. We actually played him when he was at Stetson when I was at Maryland. Up at our place, we did a home and home. So they came to us one year. We went down to them the next year. So he knows how to get teams in the postseason. He knows how to get teams to win, and they've had some really good players run through Stetson. So shoot, they beat Florida State a couple weeks ago down in DeLand, I think 10-5. So they've shown that they can go line up and compete with some of the best in the country. So it's going to be a heck of a weekend. I think you look up and you never know what's going to happen in these things. I think I used to always look at this. We're going to play it a game at a time, but I think you actually got to peel it back a little bit more and kind of play it an inning at a time. We got to go out and win innings and just figure out how to get to the next one. Because you start game planning, saying, "Man, if we win, we're going to play these guys here," and then you lose, and that thing gets completely lit on fire. So, four really good teams. Should have hopefully some decent weather down in Tallahassee this weekend. So, man, we're just excited to get back on the field.
Yeah, and with that, how do you try and manage a pitching staff through all of this? So, because you can have some really long days, sometimes things can go to plan. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just how do you try and manage the ebbs and flows, especially with the pitching staff on what could be very unpredictable days?
No doubt. I mean, you obviously have kind of plan A, which is stay in the winner's bracket. You win game one, you win game two, and you get to Sunday and you win game three, and you all high five and everything's good. But you and I both know very rarely does it go that easy. So I think there's a lot of different things that it's what makes college athletics. You see it in every sport, but every year you see it in college baseball. It's what Veach did against us at South Carolina. That guy's gone 2 innings stints all year, and he doesn't get hit, but he's gone like 2 inning stints. He goes almost 6 innings against us. He does that superhero thing. I had a kid at Maryland. We hosted in 22, and we got in the losers bracket. We knocked Wake out. We had beat UConn, and we beat Long Island. We were playing UConn in kind of an elimination game, and we had Nick Robinson, who, man, he was a graduate student. He had a screw put in his elbow at his previous institution because he had fractured his elbow. I love the kid. Unbelievable makeup. Had probably thrown 10, 11 innings for us on the year and went out and went 7 shutout against those guys. And like you see that in the postseason, it creates these opportunities for really cool memories for these kids. So, when you get in a bad position, it takes something like that. It's going to take Austin Morris coming out, and instead of giving us 2 good ones, you look up and man, he just rattled 6 shutout against them. It's going to take Tyler Fay doing that, or you get 3 great starts. and you play really well offensively and the bullpen holds, and it can be like, hey, it's right how we scripted it. But I think you just have to have that ebb and flow. It's all hands on deck. I think, we felt like we were in a pretty good position. Not that we didn't, you could see by the way we used our pitching staff in Hoover. We sent it game one to try to win that thing and just didn't. Um, but it's all hands on deck. We had a pretty good feeling we'd be playing this week. There's nothing next. There's some of these kids they're guaranteed two more games to put this jersey on. And I know it means a heck of a lot to a lot of those guys. So I'm excited to get out and go with them. But we'll have kind of plan A, and then man, we'll have to have a guy step up and step in and see what we got if things go awry.
Well, Coach, best of luck with your final practice coming up before the team heads to Tallahassee. Best of luck this weekend, and let's hopefully be talking on the show again next week, previewing the Super Regional. But thank you for your time as always. Roll Tide, Coach.
Heck yeah, Roger. Appreciate you. Roll Tide, babe.